Marshmallow Fanboy back with another review. This time a Marvel Legends series Speedball from the Controller Build-A-Wave figure. Now, I gotta admit that Speedball is probably my favorite character in the Marvel Universe. I don't know where that comes from exactly, but ever since I was reading the title Steve Ditko was doing back in, I think it was the late 80s or the early 90s. It had to be the late 80s. That I was just a huge fan. It seemed like a cool power, and he was the most fun member of the New Warriors. And then, of course, you know, the Civil War happens over, you know, their takedown of Nuke, and then he becomes Penance for some reason, and he switches back to Speedball. So it's been a weird, like, he doesn't get used very often, and his path has always been a little unclear, but he's an emotional favorite. I won't say, like, if he came out with a title tomorrow, I would necessarily get it. But, you know, I do wish the paint was a little bit of a lighter blue. I think on camera it looks lighter blue, but in person it's a little bit darker. The side has this, which I'm pretty sure that's David Nakayama. Like, I'm pretty sure all the figures in this wave are David Nakayama art. If you don't know who David Nakayama is, he does really amazing covers for a lot of books. A lot of books. He's not just Marvel, but he does a lot of different companies, a lot of different books. So I wish the paint were lighter, but the bubble details in the arms and things are just awesome. That's great, and the hair is great. I wish that had been a brighter yellow, because that was kind of, it's kind of how the side box looks like. You know, the bright yellow hair is what I'm more accustomed to. So there was somebody on YouTube. There's a reviewer, and Marvel sent him an early prototype of Speedball before they kind of announced he was coming out, and I was super jealous. I was like, that guy. I was like, oh my god, I wish I had a channel. And, you know, now I don't know if it's a few years. Maybe I did have a channel at the time. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I didn't at the time, but now I do. But I missed out on that opportunity, because I could have said my favorite is Speedball, and maybe the Marvel Legends team would have said, let's send him a Speedball. But this is what he looks like when he's using his powers. My friend is a big New Warriors fan, and he had to have the figure for his New Warriors collection. And he lamented the fact that there's this big empty space here that they could have put, like Havoc has those effects behind him. Speedball could have had Speedballs around him. And I sort of took care of that with an Etsy purchase, which I'll probably bring out when I open him up. But he should have come with some sort of effect with the bubbles and things. So yeah, it's very cool packaging. But let's break him out. Let's see what we think about Speedball. Now that he's out of his package, let's take a look at my favorite member of the New Warriors, Speedball. Not my favorite the Steve Ditko creation, of course. That'd be Spider-Man. But I love Speedball. First, let's go over the effects on his hands. These are from an Etsy seller called His Dork Materials. All one word. His Dork Materials. One word. And he has a lot of these different kind of effects. He has a lot of different power effects, things that you could put on, like, Jubilee's wrist to make them look like they're firing off fireworks. Things you could put on, you know, Dazzler's wrist to make a lighting effect. Some things you could put on maybe Sunspot's hands to make them look like the kind of that Kirby crackle around his hands. Just really cool. These could have also, these are stiff enough that they can go on his back too. Maybe put a little glue dot and maybe have the effect behind him. That's very possible also. So let's take him off the stand. I just thought he'd look great in midair, and I was right. And just pop the hands off so I could take off the effects. By the way, his Dork Materials has really cool, high quality, like thick plastic. These things are very durable. You can feel the printing on one side where it's bright and vivid, but on the other side, there isn't any dimming. It looks really good. It has a hole through the middle where the hand post goes through right into the wrist. And of course, once it's through the wrist, you can rotate it so that if you're taking photos or anything else, it'll look a little bit different every time. And I got the effects because Speedball comes with nothing. No extra hands, no extra effects. He just comes like this, which is great. But for some of us who really like the character, we'd like some effects, please. So he looks just like Speedball. There's not much to say. From the hair, which in the early days stood straight up, so it's a little bit of a departure. It's a more modern-esque looking. The goggles are on there, which is good. He doesn't take the goggles off when he's in this form anyway. This isn't a costume. This is basically when his effect activates. This is what the costume looks like that envelops him when he uses his powers. Of course, the gloves and every part like that where the bubbles are. So everything that's yellow has the bubbles, which is extremely Ditko. But I'm sure the Marvel Legends team took their inspiration from maybe a couple different places. So I'm not absolutely sure this is the original Speedball or more of a New Warrior Speedball. But let's go through the articulation. Head way up. Head way down. Great side to side. He's got the butterfly joints. Super large wingspan. Bicep swivels. Double pin elbows. Wrist swivel. Wrist hinge. Mid-torso crunch. Twist in the waist right below the belt so it looks unbroken. Regular Marvel Legends legs setup, pins. Thigh swivel. Double pin knees. He can kick his own butt. Boot swivel. That is a really nice touch. Foot hinge. Ankle rocker. And that is Speedball. While he comes in a little bit plain for fans of the figure, I don't think they're going to be let down by the fact that he doesn't come with much. I think they're going to be grateful that they have a Speedball figure at all. For me, I've been waiting decades for a Speedball figure. And I know that sounds weird, but for most Marvel Legends, or not most Marvel Legends, but for a lot of Marvel Legends figures that are coming out now, these figures have never been out before. They're really cool. And his Dork Materials making effects to sort of beef these characters up doesn't hurt either. There's a lot of third-party sellers selling effects to really beef up your figures. And they're on Etsy, they're on Instagram, they're in your favorite Marvel Legends Facebook groups. Seek them out, make friends with them. Say, hey man, you're doing awesome work. I left a review for his Dork Materials, and you should leave reviews that helps the Etsy sellers. And if you help the Etsy sellers, they'll make more of this cool stuff in the future. But for now, he's an amazing addition to my New Warriors collection. Amazing addition to my collection at all. Speedball was the figure that I was most excited to hear about. And when I saw somebody else reviewing him early, before he was even solicited, so jealous. Super jealous. I was like, yeah, I would love to have that. The problem is that if the Marvel Legends team had sent me Speedball early, I may never have sent it back. I may have just said, hey, I totally did send it back. But I would have done one of those retail things where you get it in the mail and it's a weird Batman figure instead of the figure that you were expecting. Yeah, I didn't just say that. Never mind. But until then, until next time rather, enjoy your toys.